We got a big old Class A. Came all the way down from the fine state of Illinois. I think you're supposed to pronounce the S. I'm not sure. It's a mountain air. I'll show you the roof in a minute, but the reason why we got scaffold all pulled apart is because one of the big issues we got going on, we got a rotted floor on this slide. Right up underneath here. That's not good. See? Bang, bang, bang. Solid. Bang, bang, bang. Not solid. Go to it again. Solid. Not solid. So, floor coming out. But there's cabinets and everything else all inside. This is a bedroom slide, but it's just obviously a mini slide. And there's a dresser right here on this, right in there is a dresser. So now we got to brace it all up before we can pull it all apart, because we got to release the rams and get them out of our way. Yahoo! There's our rotted floor. Look at there. It's all rotted here. Oh, we got our new floor in. There's a little bit of work for sure. It's not very big. And then we adjusted those rollers because they weren't really right, and also was wadding up the carpet. So I got a carpet stretcher, and we cut the carpet where it was already stretched, meaning wadded up. Cut that portion out, re-stretched it, and refastened it so it'll glide a little better, and just change the rollers a little bit so they're more balanced. So we got all that. Now all we got to do is just put the whole dresser assembly back together, get the trim back on, all that stuff, and it's ready to go. You can see we got all that. I mean, it's all glued and screwed, and it's in there tight. Okay, this is the back side of our Newmar. This is some, obviously you see some tape right here. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos. They go, hey, just put some tape on there. Doesn't stick. It has to be prepped. Everything has to be prepped. So, you know, you just don't listen to everybody up on YouTube, because it's just going to fail. So now some of this caulking, that seems okay right there. And all I do is just, you know, I got to get this stuff out of here. So I just took this little razor knife, can't do it left-handed, and I just sliced down here. That's all I did. And then the rest of it, you can see, just punch right up. It's dry. That's not even sticky. It's not adhering. So there's the right way to do things and the wrong way, and this is the wrong way. If it helped keep out some water though, if it did, then hey, it's going to work, obviously, but that's not a long-term fix. That's a lot of the reasons why we don't like just doing. We've had some customers call up and say, hey, can you just fix the back wall? Well, I got to breach into your existing roof, and I got to try to get that back together. And I do not like regular RV roofing material because it's just too fickle. It just does not want to cooperate a lot of the times. And I don't want to put something on there and have it leak and then have to do the wall again. So this is Phylon. That's all it is. It's the same material as what's on the side. All they did was just wrap it one big sheet and rolled it over the edge, and la-di-da is done. So we're trying to get everything up off the roof. And because this is painted, my goal, again, keyword goal, is to try to salvage this. So I'm going to try and see if I can cut it here, salvage this, and weld everything on top. Again, that's the goal. We'll see if it works out that way. I really didn't want to bring it over. If we do bring it over, you know, the material can be painted. So, but I'm probably still going to need a shoulder anyways, so if I can reuse this, I will. But I want to see everything up underneath there. There's a couple of things I did like so far that I've seen. A lot of times I'm ragging on these manufacturers. I can't remember what year this one is. It's an older one though. But this looks pretty welded. Pretty good. You can see they got some good, those are stitch welds right there. And then obviously when they're little small ones that I call snot welds, those are tack welds. But you got a couple of good stitch welds. You can see they got some heat on there because it's all black. But anyhow, this part looks really good. Let's see what it looks like when I tear the roof and decking up and everything, and see how good or bad everything looks like up underneath there. So then the other thing we do with the air conditioners, and we take them off, this is just a smart idea. If you're a DIY type person, you want to go around with some electrical tape and get go spend the money for like they're like $5 a roll for colored electrical tape. That's a lot of money. It really is. We'll say you go out and buy 7 rolls, $35. Mark every single wire you take off so you know where it goes. The ones that don't go anywhere, just coil them up and tape them up and write dead or not connected or something on there. So when you go to put that back, you know exactly where it goes. And for $35, trust me, it'll save you some grief. And even if you never use the stuff again, it'll still save you some grief. So that's what we do. We color code all those, all the ones we take off, anything that has multiple wires. So now anybody can go right behind us, whoever it is, and they can go, oh yeah, okay, red to red, blue to blue. Even though the color, the wire may not be that color, we don't care. Sometimes the manufacturer will bring, of the coach will bring up certain colors, and then the colors may not necessarily match, like in this case, an air conditioner, or even a fan. It may not match. So you want to make sure that you get all those colors back together. So they get all that tape on there. There's tape, and then they covered it with roof tape. There's no termination bar. See? There's supposed to be a little flat piece of metal that comes across. This, I doubt, is a term bar either. I believe this is just glued on here. That's all this one is. So we're going to have to bring a new one up all the way around. But that's all they did. Now, whoever did that, that wasn't very smart. You know, even if it was the manufacturer, I don't know who's been working on this thing, but I've never seen a manufacturer just throw tape on it like this. So we'll see all what's underneath it once we get it up. All right, look at our poor Newmar. Everybody thinks, why don't you just put one big sheet on here, like a big sheet of metal or whatever. It's going to leak. It's going to leak. That's what happens. When you don't put the curves up on here, they will leak, period. So this had a sheet of fiberglass on it. And look at it. Still got rot under it, right? Look at over here. That's where the air conditioner was. The air conditioner leaked. Common spot. Surprised we don't have any around here. And then or even around this one. So we got lucky on these. Skylight seems okay so far. But look at right here. Around this air conditioner. Same thing. All a mess. Right here where the satellite was leaked. Right here where all these other antennas and stuff were. A couple of them were okay over there. This one didn't work so well. So obviously we're going to change all this stuff out and put fresh down here. But I like to show this because I hear it all the time. People say, oh, all you have to do is just put one sheet, or doesn't matter what you put on here. If you do not have curbs, it's not going to function right. That's how a commercial roof, flat roof, low slope roof, that's how they function. You have to have the curbs on there. If that was the case, then a lot of these commercial buildings, boy, they would save a boatload of money, because the detail adds up to about 65% of the roof cost. That's a lot. It's more than half just to put all these curbs down and stuff to make all these things. So, you know, that's what we just want to do it right and get it done so we don't have to mess with it again. So on this one here, I know we're omitting the satellite. He doesn't want that. He put an electric refrigerator in here, so we don't need that. And then a couple of those antennas that were broke, we're going to omit those. And then so then we just got the air horns up here, like I said. But I mean, we're all rotted here. It looks like we got an aluminum frame, but I don't know how good or bad the insulation is on this. This is not a ply foam roof. It looks like it's just a truss. So when we pull all this up, we're probably going to see batten insulation of underneath there, and I want to make sure that's good. And we'll also be checking all these trunk lines. So I want to check all that. Check see if there's any compromised wire or whatever. So, and then we're going to try and see if I can show you. You can see a little bit over there, like that white tape. We use colored tape when we take all these off. I mentioned it on that one down there. But we use colored tape, so this way we know exactly where they go back. We also mark, just smart to do, mark the air conditioners, because one may be for the rear, one may be for the back. We mark everything. Everything is noted, you know. So this way it goes back exactly the way it came off, and we don't have any issues. So, but this section here doesn't look so bad, but we're still going to pull it up. Right here, all this looks well, but we're still going to pick this up and check everything underneath it. That's the only thing we can do. You can see the batten insulation in there. See it? So in a lot of Class A's, they're ply foam, but this Newmar is not. And you would know. So if you were to open up your vent, instead of seeing that insulation in there, what you would see is foam, white foam, that you would, same rigid white polystyrene foam that you'd see when you buy an electronic device or something, that hard, rigid white foam. that's what you would see in there. But again, this isn't it. This is just a regular truss assembly. And like I said, we'll check all the trusses. I'm hoping everything will be all right. We don't have any warped trusses or broke welds. We've run into that before. But we'll see when we take it off. So the other thing we're doing is just protecting the whole coach. The entire coach gets all protected so we can do our job. We don't want to get anything on top of on the finish or anything. We're going to salvage the shoulders and we're going to weld everything on the top. Most of my roof systems, they come over, but not on this one. It's going to stop right up in here. But I'm not going to put a termination bar up there. If you put a termination bar up there, then the water has to build up before it can roll off. And I don't want to do that. I want it to just roll right off. So we're going to weld it to a special piece of metal that we have. It's super expensive as well. Like really crazy expensive. But it works. So we'll be getting all that on there. We'll show you as we go along. It's a rodent channel all in there. You can see the way they've been going. You actually see it go all the way down there. Right in there. That's the other thing we're going to look for. This is all contaminated, then we're going to get rid of it. We'll have to put new insulation in it. Let's see if we find a critter. Any critters in here?
Turns black.
So this is the top of the ceiling. That's the ply foam for the ceiling right there. So what they use on here, this is the roof deck side. That's ceiling panel. So looks like they got. That's what that is. Not very thick. All right, we will keep going. Alright, so we got some of this insulation up. Got some rat stuff right there. Little good sized turdens right there. So I doubt it's a little mousy. But anyhow, got some of this. I don't know what all that is. I don't think it's just sawdust. There's something that's chewing. There. So we're probably going to end up pulling this insulation out. Got some chewage right here. So more than likely we're going to get rid of this insulation because it's got rat turds in it and stuff. So checking all the way down here. We'll end up checking all these trunk lines, but right now I just wanted to see, like, we got a dropping here, so I don't know if I'm going to promote putting this back. I'd rather just put some other insulation in here. If it were mine, that's what I'm going to do. I wouldn't want rat crap in my insulation. So I don't think anybody else really would either. Some of it may be good, but you know, you still got some stuff down there and then here. It's just random. Just got some issues with this over here, this over here. We're probably just going to change it all out to be on the safe side. Alright, so now that we got everything up, all the roof deck up, we're looking at the trusses here. We already looked at all these wires. My concern was that maybe that rat might have got in here and chewed a wire. We hadn't seen anything. So, if there is something chewed, we don't know about it. We can't see it. So that's what we did. We went around and checked everything. And then we got one of these wires that are, this one here we found. That one's just like that. It was laying in there taped together. We're trying to see if we got power to it, what it does. So
You turn it up.
we may have to get some testers on it. We got these LED lights up inside here. On the underside, I guess it goes down through there, does something, I don't know. But that's about us. So we're just trying to figure out what we got. We know we got the satellite's going to get omitted, so we just got to bring the wires over and put a marker here. And then we're also, we got a radio, I think. That looks like a radio connection to me. But this antenna was broke. There was another one over there that was broke. There was only one that looked like it was good. So I don't know. And then this looks like either some GPS or maybe some serious satellite thing. I don't know what this is either. So it's some sort of transponder of some sort. I don't know if it works. So I don't like to just stick things right back onto the roof if we don't know what they are. You know, we may be able to either put it up here or just omit it. I don't know where it goes to. So that's the problem when you get an older coach and people start doing stuff to it. They don't remove the other stuff or mark it or label it, hey, no good, NG, junk, whatever. So other people behind them can go, yeah, it doesn't do anything, or omitted, you see what I'm saying? So, all right, but otherwise we're doing pretty good. We're getting everything all vacuumed out. You can see if we got everything all cleaned up. A little bit of water staining, nothing terrible. This is from the satellite. So we also sprayed it down with some disinfectant, some hospital grade disinfectant, and we may give it another misting yet. So I want to make sure we don't have any, you know, issues with, you know, rat feces or anything in here. Alrighty. So this is the wire. We can't get power to it. We don't know if there's power to it at all. So what we're going to do is run it over here to this vent. We're going to leave it over here, and then if there is an issue and someone says something isn't hooked up, then at least we can reach inside here and just hook it up or whatever. I don't know why it was cut, but it was like that. These two pieces were down here like that, and there was black tape on it. So when we do ours, we end up marking them so we know who's who and who's what when we take them apart. And that's what we're going to do, is move them all around down here. So even if they're sitting like right here, then at least you can just take that plastic ring out and reach inside and get them. Well, we're getting the insulation in. I like this blown in because you can kind of shove it all up underneath everything. Keeps it nice and tight. And we've got, it's around you. Got this, I don't know if it's a transponder for Sirius radio or satellite radio, whatever it is. But this is it. We don't know where it goes, but this thing is no good. You can see the computer chip there. So I'm guessing this thing is not working. So we're just going to put it back in here. And like this. We can't find out where it goes because there's a whole cabinet in there with a TV, and we're not going to tear all that apart. So some of this stuff we just don't know who goes where, what, and how. We're going to get this all nice, and then we're going to start decking it over. Well, we're making some headway. We're getting the decking down. We've already put all the insulation in, and we're screwing them all down. And we're gluing it all down. There's booger everywhere. Booger everywhere. So the way I do these, I glue all my trusses. Then I also glue here, and I want to glue this piece to there and then glue it down too. So I put a nice bead down there on every break. And we just screw it all down. And now we've got the decking down. We've got our strips in there. Got another strip right here. And we've got all these shoulders. We glued underneath it, and then we screwed them all down. You see all that adhesive we got in there, and we screwed them all down, all the way down. Now we're going to be putting this on. What this is, this will come out here, and we're going to weld our material to this metal. This is a special metal, very expensive special metal, like crazy expensive. But then I had to fabricate it all up, and because you don't get it like this. So we're going to take that, and the sheet will come here, and we're going to weld all that. This will get all sealed in here. So we'll be good. And then what that prevents is from going over. The other way we normally do these is all the way down, and we tuck it up underneath here. We don't have a color to match this, and he didn't want to see that. So he said keep everything on top. So that's option here. But this is an upgrade because there's a lot of work to it. Because we have to weld every bit of this all the way down there on both sides. On both sides. Plus, you know, obviously you got to fabricate all this stuff. All right, well, let's get to work. All right, so we got the driver's side is already glued. You can see all the glue we got on this. The passenger side, we're going to roll it over here in a little bit. As soon as that glue tacks up, you see we got all our protective strips, and then we've got that other strip down there that we're going to weld to. That big orange block down there, that is a stove vent, I guess. So we're just going to cut the roofing around it. But otherwise, we're about ready to go. Once this thing is tacked out, like I said, we'll roll it. We already did the driver's side over here, and we should be able to get this thing going. Well, we're getting there. We are getting there. We get the air on, AC's on, got all our curbs welded on there. And then, so this is we're going to put a solar fan here, and then we'll have the lens. The lens hasn't come in yet, but when we put the lens on there, then you'll have the interior lens. And I designed this as a ventilation system for the skylight. A lot of times what happens is the condensation and the moisture, rather, frost, especially now this time of year, being, you know, the fall, going into winter, we've got condensation, or should I say frost, that'll be on the top of the skylight. Well, it's also on the inside. And then when the sun comes up, what that'll do is it'll evaporate it off. When it evaporates it off, the inside can't get evaporated out, so what it does is it just condensates and it runs down and drools into either the roof deck. Most of these will do roof deck, or in this case it could possibly, you know, get down into here, right, into your roof deck. We don't want that. Or it'll run down into the ceiling. So you can see we got all this all sealed up with tape and everything. And what we did is made these, this is just a trough right here. This is our intake. So now when this fan kicks on, because now the sun's coming up, so this is automatically going to kick on, and it will draw air from there, from this chute right here, this little plenum. It'll bring it up over the inner skylight, come back down, and then it'll go here to exhaust out. So that's how that works. And also we're getting second strike on here. Now we welded everything on the top. It's all welded back here, all welded, and then we're putting we already got one strike in. You can see we're going to do another strike. That's just the way we do things. We got some new fans he wanted to put on, so we omitted the satellite. He didn't want to do that. We put a new line guard on, got a radio antenna up there, put our air horns back on, and I made a little boot for this, I guess, I don't know if it's Sirius radio or whatever it is, but whatever that gadget is, that's what we got that squared away. So I'll go over all this. We still got to clean it. This is a marker right here for another wire. We didn't know what it went to, but we just put a marker there just in case someone says, hey, it was here. And there's another one that we don't know what they went to. It looked like they were dead to us. They didn't work. They were all broke. So you got our air conditioner counter flash on there. So what happens when the water comes down as you're traveling, up underneath the air conditioner here is just a foam gasket, which we did replace. You don't want that water to keep kind of pushing back in there as it's coming down as you're traveling, right? It would just get blown back in, and kind of, I just try to discourage everything I can from getting up in that area. So now as this comes down, the water, the rain will come down and it'll get shot off around. It won't be able to get up underneath the pan there. So we got those all squared away. We got, you know, the feet mounted up underneath there to give it some balance. And the same on this one here. They're all the same. So, all right. Well, that's what we're going to do is get the second strike on here. Then we're probably we got to work on the door. We're working a couple of things. So probably the next closing video you see, I'm going to move it over here into my inspection bay because I still got to wait on this. So it may take another day for that to come in. But in the meantime, I'm going to shuffle it out, and then we can work on, I think the awning door, or the awning over the door, over on that main entrance door, he said doesn't work. I don't know much about that, but we're going to explore it. And then we also got to put a new awning fabric on this slide out. So when all that comes in, then we can do it, and that'll give me a chance to get this bay open. And I had to special order some more of these solar fans. All right, that gives you an update. Well, we are done with this big Class A. Here's our logo. So I'm going to turn the camera a little bit. Hopefully that'll help. November 27, she is done. So we've got everything all caulked. We got 2 strikes of caulk, and we changed the turn bar in the back because there was so much booger on it. We just couldn't clean it. So we put our own turn bar, and then we put an insert trim in there too. So just to preface this, one, I want to thank the customer for bringing the coats to us. We really appreciate it. I know folks come a long way to have us do this work, and we take our time to make sure it's done correctly. And it takes what it takes to do it right. So that being said, and the other thing is, these aren't DIY videos. We put them together so the customer can see them, so they can see all the work we did and how it came together and so forth. So going on that, you know, again, we're not a DIY channel. If you get some tips out of it, that's great. But that isn't really the whole scope of our channel. It really was just geared for the customers. But all that said, there are other people who watch these, and you know, we try to just pass some information along. We try to show what damage there is, and how bad these RVs are. When people start looking at them, they go, hey, it looks pretty good. No, they're not. There's usually always problems or something that we have to fix on here. So we already showed you all of this, and now we had to pull it out of the other bay, and I pulled it forward. We had to get another coach in there. We were waiting on this. That's what we were waiting on, and also that skylight lens. So, you know, all of this is all heat welded. This is a piece of special metal that we put under there, and then we screwed it all down, and then we heat welded all of this back, and then we got 2 layers of caulking all across here. The customer really didn't want to see the roofing coming over, so we've done this, but this is an added cost because this metal is extremely expensive, and also have to fabricate it up. It's, when you get the sheet, you still got to take it and you got to, you know, make all your pieces and so forth and get them all together and heat weld it all together. It's a lot of work. So anyhow, we got all that. We got our boots all sealed up right here, and these boots, they're all, once you squeeze them like this, that'll tell you, you can look for in there to see if there's any breaching, and then if there is, then you just want to put another lick on there. So it looks like you got a little something there. We're going to put a little more on there just to make sure. More on. So then we got our air conditioner set. We got some feet on the back just to give us a balance. That's all it does. And then we got this front piece on here. What that is, a counter flash. So all of the curves that I designed, and I designed every one of these, all the curves that I designed, they all have this like a counter flash. That has one as well. All of them do. So now as you're traveling and you're in even a storm, all that wind is pushing and pushing and pushing all the rain, and I don't want it to try to, when the rain is coming down off the cover, I don't want it to blow back into that foam gasket that's up in there. So we put these on here, so now the water will roll and get pushed out that way. But all of that is all heat welded. You can see some of the discoloration. That's how much penetration we get. And basically it fuses together. That's what I like about this system. PVC is a very similar product, but this is TPO. This is a thermoplastic. So you can see we got put some new vents on for him. That's what he wanted. Plumbing, again, those are all heat welded in. This is all heat welded in. So what this is a solar fan, and I showed you the trough, I believe, on this. And basically, when you get condensation on here, we'll say frost on here in the morning, then the frost is also on the inside of the lens. Now the sun comes up and it'll evaporate this off, but what's up underneath there can't get evaporated out. So what it does, ends up condensating down, and it rolls and trickles. And those are chronic leaks. That's basically a form of what they call dry rot, because it'll just leak and then it dries out. It leaks, it dries out. So to make sure that we didn't have that problem with it, you know, either in this application, it would ruin our curb, but get into the ceiling or get the roof deck or get into the ceiling, what we did is I designed these fans up. So now this is an intake. So now as the sun comes up, this is going to kick on. So you don't have to monitor. You don't have to go in and flip a switch and say, oh, I got to open that up so I don't get any moisture building up inside there. This will kick on automatically. And when this kicks on, it pulls it from there. It goes through that trough and it goes over the inner lens and under this lens, of course, and then comes back down, and it's always running. So it's keeping a constant airflow through there. And then inside here, you barely see this little bit right in here. See this a little bit, that little black there. But that is a little filter we put in there, make sure we don't get any bees or anything in there. Now, if this pops off, it will leak in there. That's an open trough. So take one of those plumbing vents and just put it on here, or tape this up, whichever you want to do. But if it were me, a real quick, easy, just grab that or that one, put it on here, and then those can't leak. They're not going to leak. If any water goes down that pipe, it's just going into your holding tank. I doubt you're going to fill up your holding tank even in a heavy storm. So I'd be more concerned about water getting in because the tree branch clipped this off or something. So like I said, we heat welded this whole entire thing all the way down. Another vent. Got our other little vent over there for the stove, I guess it is. And then we took off the satellite. That's what he wanted to do. We took off a lot of things. Extra antennas. That's what these markers are for. We had wires down there. We don't know. So we just put markers on there just in case something comes up down the road in the future. We can go, okay, I know there's a wire in there and there. We can reach down, pull them up, and hook something up if we had to. But we also made the boots for the horns. I made one for that little what antenna, I guess it is. And then we put a new antenna on there. And then you get that wind guard on there. Now that wind guard, we got those boots that come up. They're bolted into the roof deck, but also they're galvanized, so they're not going to rust. And then all of those are all sealed the same way, and that's how you would check them as you go. And I know it's getting blurry there. Come back. You just squeeze them. That's what you want to do. You want to squeeze them. The same with here. You want to come along here and you would just basically put a little bit of friction on there so you can feel if it's loose. If it is, then you know, you can just put, so these are going to rack and twist and flex, so we want to make sure they're going to stay tight. And it wouldn't be uncommon, if you will, or unusual if you had a little breach, but there's 2 layers under here, so it would be hard to breach the whole thing. But even if this the outer layer, if you will, if that looks like it needs some attention, hey, we leave folks with a care package so they have the products just in case they see something. Don't take anything for granted. You just never know. I didn't make the product, and I trust that the company sent it to me. It works. I've been using it for decades, so it's a great, great product, but you never know. That's, you know, carry a spare tire type thing. So we sealed all around the lights, all around everything up in here, and anything else that looked like it was kind of peculiar, we had went around and just caulked. So we didn't go around and caulk the whole entire coach, just some areas. I think the owner could probably do that. We did replace this awning over here, though. We replaced that and replaced that strap for him as well. So that is our big Class A. And again, we want to thank the customer for coming all this way. So the way the warranty works on these is this is a 20-year roof system, and all warranties work the same way. And the way that is, even like Dycor or whoever else you get it from, they warranty that the material, the actual material, is not going to fail for 20 years. And typically they'll say, oh, if it failed, here's some roofing. They'll give you some roofing as a rule. They're not going to pay for labor. They don't do any of that. Dycor doesn't either. None of them do. But I don't want a customer coming all this way, depending on me, to give him a nice roof, and if something were to go sideways, that he's left with it, right? So what we ask folks is the first inspection, I really like to see the coach move. That's really what I want to do. I want to see it move, because then it's actually flexing and twisting and everything. So when it comes in for the initial inspection, which I like to see 30 days, sometimes it's not possible, 60 days, okay? But really we like to see that initial inspection. And then after that, you come back once a year. Once a year we'll inspect it. So whatever it needs, we'll take care of. And we can find things that you may not see. Maybe something hit the roof or a tree branch did, and we'll patch it for you for free. So you can wash these roofs down with any dish soap. You can use Simple Green. You can use a pressure washer on them as well. You know, you can get up here and just clean it up, or go to a truck wash and say, hey, get up there and wash my roof down. Recommend to have these things washed twice a year if you can. That would be great. Like you said, run it through a truck wash or do it yourself, whichever. But the material itself, this is a 60 mil, that's a thickness of it, 60 mil commercial grade TPO. This is the same material, same exact material you're going to find on a hotel, an office building, a library, a restaurant, same exact material. So, and I get all my material through a commercial roofing warehouse. Everything is all commercial. We don't have anything RV grade on this roof or any projects that we do. So the material, this is what we got here. This is the TPO, but it's what they call a structured membrane. See if I can get the light in there. There it is. So you see all those little squares in there? That is a weave that's inside there. Basically, it's a mesh. It's a reinforcement, and that helps resist against tree branches, against hail, things like that. It's a really strong membrane, really hard to cut as well. You'd have to have an incredibly super sharp knife to just kind of hook through it and, you know, cut it. But so the way you would check these, and there should be a video at the end, another clip, you just come around like this. That's how we check them. If that kind of poked in a little bit, that's not the end of the world. Again, when it comes back for inspection, we can address it. But if it looks like it's going to be a concern, then what you can do, again, we leave product. We show the customer how to use it, but it's just some primer, clean it out, put some primer on it, and then you can put the caulking on there, and that'll take care of it. We do not put any screws in these skylights. As a DIY suggestion, I would not recommend you do it. You can use a urethane caulk on these, or urethane adhesive to bond these down. So you start putting screws in it, I'm telling you, they're just going to crack. I've done a lot of them. I've even drilled out holes, and I've had a few that they always seem to crack. It's just a manufacturer's defect in a sense, but it's also the product expands and contracts so much. So that's why we just glue them down. They're not going anywhere. So at least not the stuff we use. Anyhow, that's about the gist of the roof. And again, we appreciate y'all watching. And we're about ready to get her kicked out. And again, if I didn't say it twice already, thank you for bringing a coach down. And we look forward to seeing you back for your inspection. This particular ladder has this collar down inside there. It's not common to have that. So we're just going to add some more flavor on there and build it up. That's all. It'll stick to all of that. And then that'll take care of that problem. But normally that isn't like that. I tried to see what it was, and then I felt it down underneath there, so I want to get that right. Care package. Right. So in our care package, we have caulking, we got primer, we have got 2 patches. Those are heat patches. We got a patch peel and stick patch. We got a checker tool. We've got a magnet. And the rest of this is just pens, keychains, brush, nozzle. Okay. So, if we have a hole in the roof, and we'll simulate a hole. We're going to do hole simulations. We say we got a hole there. Here's your tree branch come through, and you're like, oh man, I got a hole in my roof. It's leaking. So what you want to do? And it's raining out. Right now it's raining. You're like, crap, I got to stop that leak. You want to get in there, and if you can't get that nozzle in there, don't worry about it. Make it a little bigger. What you try and do, you need to get up underneath the roofing, like this. This is what we need to do, get up underneath the roofing. Then you're going to take and you're going to put this up inside there, and you're going to squeeze, 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 squeeze. Hopefully this thing is plugged up. There it goes. Just squeeze, squeeze. You're going to try and get up underneath this part too. Squeeze up underneath there. Put some more underneath there. Well, we are getting this thing all boogered up. Then what we're going to do, you're going to push it together. See how it oozes out? That's sealed. You're done. This is a moisture cured product. So what? It's a hot mess. Looks terrible. Who cares? Keep the water out. So now, the next day, we're going to go up there, and that's going to be cured looking like that. So we're going to take a knife, and you just shave it down. Just shave it down with a knife. I'm just going to obviously wipe this off. Now you say, hey, I want something a little better than that. So what we're going to do is get some cleaner. This is a terrible rag. You got another one. You got one on you? Oh, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag. Hey, what are you doing? What are you going to talk about, man? Nope, just leave it alone. Oh, leave it alone right now. We're recording now? Are we on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright, so now we cleaned it off with a knife. I just washed that off because it's still wet. Take that off. So now we got a patch. This is a peel and stick patch. We're going to take that, we're going to center it over there. Just take a pen and go around like this. I like to kind of put a dash like that so I know who's where, what, and where, and how. So now there's what I got. So in the package we got primer. We also have a brush. You're going to take that, you're going to go all inside the square. You're also going to go outside this square about 3/8 of an inch. Outside about 3/8 of an inch or so. Once you get that, there's a film on the back. You peel the film, now you know which side you are, see, because there's your marks. And you peel that film back. Get the fingers, fat fingers in there to get the film off of this thing. This is just a regular roof tape. That's all it is. We put them in all the care packages. Get that daggone thing off of there. Probably use some fingernails. Probably help. Come on. There it is. Okay. There it is. Now you got the film. You take that film. So now we're going to line it back up with this. We already got the primer under there. You just peel the film back, and as you do, you just rub it down like this. Sometimes that film will get a little stuck in there. This is just a butyl. You just kind of try to keep it as even as you can and flat as you can. Boom, you're done. There it is. So now, out here, this is where your primer is. You put the primer on there. You got primer there, and now you're going to put primer here. You want to prime all this area with your brush. Prime all that. Then you're going to come back. Once you get it all primed, then you're going to put a little bit of caulking on it, just like this. That simple. It doesn't all sit in there. You can always take your finger and go around it if you want. We're trying to obviously stop a leak and make one of, there's going to be a little more permanent of a patch than just that plug that we did when it was raining. So now that we get that all done, the whole purpose of it is this part here, this part underneath here, that's a butyl. When the sun hits that, if you didn't have the caulking on there, it will cause it to release and curl up just like I'm doing here. And it'll start coming loose. That's why you need the primer. That's why when you prime it, you're going to prime on top of this, because nothing will stick to it. Nothing, the caulking will not stick to this patch, and it won't stick to the roof unless you use the primer. That's how you do a patch. Ta-da! All done.